Sup guys and welcome to Camerahead Studios. Today we're going to talk to you about Nintendo's new console, the Nintendo Switch. I'm Celine and I'm here at Megasonicreviews with a couple of questions for you.
Hi, people. Nah, let me stop. So one thing we wanted to cover is we both saw the trailer right after class and stuff, and we were watching what the Nintendo NX, well now it's called Nintendo Switch, what its capabilities are, and I see a lot of people on Twitter and everything getting excited, and they have every right. So it looks like a really good system, and I'm actually looking forward to utilizing it. But it's some questions that need to be answered, and I feel that will be answered as it goes down the line. But I have written down 10 of them, actually. We have written down 10 of them. Well, I did. I've written down 10 of them, and we're going to talk about these questions, each one, and like have a little discussion. So let's start with our first question.
Will this system have good battery life? Seeing how small it is, it's probably going to try and run games that are usually meant with.
As,
I
as in,
was going to
like.
talk about memory rather than battery life.
So for first question, I want to talk about battery life. For one thing about it is that the system does seem like it's going to be a console slash handheld when you take like console level games with you on the go. But the one thing about it is battery life. Chris, like Celine, what do you think of battery life? As how long this game like system is going to last without being like put against the dock?
Well, seeing how small it is, I hope that it would last more than an hour or two, especially since they're advertising that you could go on road trips and plane rides on it. So,
I say max around 6 hours, 6 hours at most. I'm gonna just say that because like the one thing about when it comes to battery life, Nintendo has not had like a good track record, especially with the Wii U, like consuming battery life like insane because it's a screen and also it's a freaking controller at the same time. And just seeing the battery, like that's the thing about people don't really understand how much, like if you're running games not just like little simple Mario Party or something simple, it like they're running like Skyrim and big AAA titles that require a lot of power from a system, and we don't know the full power of the NX. It seems, look, from what I'm seeing, looks really good in terms of just like just running Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is the newest Zelda game coming out in 2017. But in terms of just like battery life, I'll say at most 6, because if you're running games at, let's say, supposedly 1080p at most on tablet, it's going to like kill your battery heavily.
and seeing as to the fact that they're pointing out that it is so portable, will there be a miniature like charger that you could carry with you rather than that like singular dock? Because you could leave the if you leave the dock at home, how are you gonna charge it if you're on the road?
That's the one thing I would like to ask too, because in the commercial we saw the guy kind of just like got up, go into a plane, got in a cab, and pretty much rode all the way there. So there's most likely going to be a charger, like plug-in charger. But other than that, like in terms of battery life, that's the one thing I'm kind of concerned about with the system. The second question I've written down called, can it run these games such as Skyrim at 60 frames per second, 1080p? Now, for those who don't know, like pretty much games right now, the standard kind of has to be what the community has built a standard that a game has to at least run 60 frames per second because many people are starting to run to PC as their current system rather than sticking to consoles because PC you get more for your buck and you actually get to like learn a new skill if you create your own PC. And that's the one thing I think this consoles like Microsoft and Sony are afraid of. That's why the PlayStation Pro and the Scorpio are talking about like hardware replacements and all that stuff. Like pretty much treating your console like a PC, and also the fact that the PlayStation Pro supposedly I heard rumors that it's going to run 60 frames, but I don't believe that's true. As well as the Scorpio's up in the air, but no one really knows. But in terms of the Nintendo, I said the Wii. Wow, the Nintendo Switch, I'm not sure it runs 60 frames. Who knows? We have to see it live on like gameplay, and I mean from the system, not from a computer dock hitting behind the stage. What do you think, Celine?
Personally, I think we just have to wait and see because a lot of these games, first off, if they're downloaded games, and there's an issue with frame rate drop, then how do you fix that?
Yeah, there's many ways you could fix frame rate drop, but that's the one thing I'm wondering is like are these games 60 frames per second? And if you don't care about frame rate really matters when it comes to like let's say first person shooters or anything. And they have Activision, the people Activision who do publish Call of Duty games and develop Call of Duty games. I don't know. I'm kind of fuzzy about that. The next thing I want to talk about, next question is how would this thing stack up against the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox Scorpio? For what we've seen in PlayStation 4, the main thing is trying to push is 4K support, which is something that it's interesting, but many people have came out to say it's not true 4K. It's like upscale 4K. Like it still looks kind of fuzzy, but it's 4K. It's not the real type of 4K. It's not 4K ground up, and Scorpio's still up in the air whether or not what it is. Uh, it's just all around. Just this is the whole thing they're trying to like add on to this new generation of video games, these new generation of consoles. It's just confusing to me because if they're going to stack up against it, what are they bringing to the table? And I can see that they're bringing portable, like mobile gaming. I don't mean like cell phone gaming. I mean like handheld gaming because instead of making a new handheld device, which most likely Nintendo's going to do because Nintendo likes doing that, they're going to make pretty much the system and the handheld into one thing with the Nintendo Switch. That's probably why the name is Switch because they let you switch back and forth. And the fact of the matter is that it's like a system that is portable. How powerful it is, it won't. It would. I'm gonna just straight up say this. It wouldn't be as powerful as a Xbox One, Scorpio, whatever, or PS4 Pro, due to the fact it's portable. That's a lot of energy it has to have. But also, on the fact of the matter is that
Real quick, because the only one of the main differences that I'm seeing is the fact that because it is portable, they're able to control like the visual. They're able to have better control of the visuals than you probably would with the PS4 Pro, because it's just a system that you're connecting to a television. If your television can't keep up with it, then that's one thing. Versus having the system connected to something that's meant to keep up with it.
yeah, that's the one thing that it's just like how is this gonna stack up against the other ones? And I'm gonna say Nintendo has a thing about not trying to be competitive with Microsoft and Sony, and that's what constantly left it in the dust for like the last two consoles. Like the Wii did a great job with character, let's say not character, like with its idea of motion controls, and that's what it was selling. And then PlayStation made PlayStation Move, and it was pretty much laid off as like kind of like a Wii ripoff. And then the Kinect came out, and everyone bought into that Kinect thing. So in terms of just like, and the Wii U was like slept on. Not even slept on. It was just not a good system altogether. It depends on who you ask. To me, I think the Wii U was just a waste of like energy because I didn't at first I didn't think the Wii U was even a system. I thought it was like an add-on to the Wii.
I thought that too.
Yeah, I ain't go front. The first year, everyone was like, "I got a Wii U." I'm like, "Why did you buy a second Wii?" I don't know. We're assholes like that. But anyway, let's continue to our next question. Is the system gonna hold any good games? And I mean by hold, I mean how well it's gonna run. This is like part two to question two. Is if because what we saw Skyrim level games, and we saw 2K up there, and we see some like other titles like Breath of the Wild and this new Mario 3D kind of roaming game, which looks really good. What other games do they have? Because yeah, Nintendo's always gonna have Mario. That's a staple. That's a given. And they're always gonna kind of have Zelda. That's a given as well. But in terms of just like other games, like we kind of like got Star Fox kind of late in the Wii U's lifespan because Star Fox kind of came in when Wii U was kind of just like dying down at that point. And in terms of just like let's say, like I kind of want Metro Prime to be back. What do you think should make a comeback as a Wii U exclusive? You have no idea.
I don't have a Wii U. I never played
well,
video
well,
games.
you had a Wii.
I haven't played that thing in over 5 years.
I ain't gonna front. I haven't touched my Wii. In terms of this, that I might say they might bring out like, because one thing I noticed about this one is that they're not using motion controls, which I like.
Well, the controls are tiny. Like Why?
Yeah, the little two switches are kind of tiny, and it's kind of weird seeing people play Skyrim with one in the other hand and one in the other hand. It kind of looks weird, but I don't know. It's like what good games, quote unquote, good games are gonna bring.
My
Uh,
question is, like, I've only seen games where it's PvP within the game, not any online games so much where you're
you-
battling
so
online.
you're saying like most of the games might be local because the Wii U and the Wii was like online at some parts, but the online was so bad and it didn't make any sense.
And another thing is, like, how are you connecting to Wi-Fi? Would you have to would you have to connect to public Wi-Fi, or do you have to get another cell line to connect to 4G, or
That's a whole nother thing right there too. But I think in terms of just public Wi-Fi, like it's gonna have to connect to public Wi-Fi or just play offline. Like Zelda Breath of the Wild will most likely, obviously, not be online because it'll make no sense for a Zelda game to be online. What can it do? But that's the one thing we want to ask. Like, is this game going to like what good games are they going to really bring to the system to really make people want to trust Nintendo again? Because I feel like every time we have like a big gaming event such as E3, Nintendo is that weird kid in the background that's like, I did this, and like everyone's like, oh, like all the fans, people who like his work, are like, you don't understand it yet. And years come, it's like Mozart, you will understand it until years he pass and stuff. But it's like not really. Like Nintendo is trying to be the weird kid in the back just for the sake of being weird, instead of just like getting with the competition. There's nothing wrong with being different. I like originality, but just like do it where it counts. Don't just do it. And I think this is a system that does it where it counts. Because one thing about PlayStation Pro, and Xbox Scorpio is that it doesn't stack up well because you can't take a four with you home. It is remote play and stuff, but that's just like that's if you like just like you said requires a good internet connection, and Xbox doesn't really do much. They have Windows now, allow you to play PC games, but really, who buys PC games on Windows? Come on, guys, really. I understand you have to get Gears of War. That's the only thing I can see them getting is Gears of War and Halo like 6. Yeah, Halo 6 off of that. The next question: what exclusives are you going to see? We already saw Zelda. We already saw Mario. What else we going? What else we going to see?
maybe a new Animal Crossing?
I think we might because Animal Crossing has been like quiet for a while now. They have not even brought attention to Animal Crossing in a long time, but I do think that they might bring it back because this is actually interesting. Because Animal Crossing World, I have an idea. Like, what if they had just like what if this thing has a GPS in it and you're able to like walk down the street like Pokemon Go and buy
Yeah,
houses?
Animal Crossing Go.
I don't know. I don't know. Just like Nintendo. Nintendo, if you take the idea, you gotta pay me a good sum of money to get it to get the like the legal shares. I'm a freaking copyright this.
I want to know if you're gonna be able to play Wii Fit and stuff like that. You just see like random
Nah,
people
this is
running
like
down the street.
like in terms of like fitness games. You mean?
I'm just being stupid.
You just being stupid as usual.
Hey,
Stop picking fun. Leave the Wii alone. But yeah, the Wii's kind of like done now. Like they're leaving the whole motion control, like the Wii mat, the Wii this, the Wii that behind. They're trying to switch to something different. In terms of just that, I think we might see in like probably 2, 3, 4 years. Most of the thing they're going to bring up here is because of like Smash Bros. Like from the Wii U version, they're going to upscale it to probably like 1080p, and it's already 60 frames. Like, come on now, it's already 60 frames, which is good. I like that because it was 60 frames on Wii U, which was a surprise to many fans, and it wasn't no drops. It was just smooth, buttery smooth. So, but like in terms of just like I don't know what exclusives like. The only thing that I think the one exclusive everyone's kind of waiting for is Metro Prime. Oh, you never played Metro Prime? Dang, you missing out. So we're kind of fuzzy about the exclusives because it's like we've only seen really two, like Zelda and Mario. But we're always gonna get a Zelda and Mario when we're gonna get something like the other mascots. Because yeah, we got Star Fox, but not a lot of people like the new Star Fox that much. Like some people think the controls are bad. Some people think the controls are all over the place. I'm not sure. I didn't like it too much myself. I tried it out one time at a Nintendo store in Manhattan, and it just didn't sit well with me. Number 6. Will you think the system have later applications such as Netflix, Hulu, etc., etc.?
Well, that goes back to the will it connect to the internet?
I think it will connect to the internet, but I think you're gonna have to treat it like a mobile handheld when it's off the dock. Because if you're leaving your house, you're gonna have to at least have Optimum or some kind of like internet or just public internet in general. So if you want to watch like Netflix while you're like on the plane, you gotta find a plane that has Wi-Fi or something like that. So in terms of just that, it's just like it's up in the air.
Or they
But
could just continue like Wii TV. I know they had something like that for a
it
system.
yeah, it didn't catch on. Like when you said WeTV, I was like, like that exists? Oh yeah, that did. Well, I don't remember that shit. But in terms of that, I think they're gonna just shove those in because that was kind of like a requirement because most systems are now media systems. Like you could have like a PlayStation 4 and not need a DVD or Blu-ray player or DVD player for a while. Um, that was a small question. Number 7 will be: will this system have a streaming service like Twitch and Hitbox and YouTube? I'm not sure about this because, like, when it comes to like internet, video games, and like Nintendo, they didn't mix well for the past couple of years because Nintendo was like flagging like YouTube gamers for like just playing like freaking like Splatoon or some shit, and they were just flagging people left and right to the point. Some YouTubers just didn't like play their games, and then when they saw the decline in that, they kind of
Well,
well
they
they
made
started
the point of putting esports in the commercial in the trailer, so I'm thinking that they're trying to like.
win that back.
Yep.
They're trying to bring that crowd back because they were playing like they were like, why they had a chalkboard out like they were about to go hard, like they were about to play for the Super Bowl. Like you're playing Splatoon.
They're really gonna go. I thought they were gonna play 2K or something like that or NFL.
2K is never going. NFL would never be a esports. It will be too much. Like if you want 2K's lagginess, and we're gonna get to 2K on the Switch, but right now let's stick on this question. I think when they showing that they're going to try to put like something like Twitch, or probably try to make their own like Nintendo stream or some ugly shit.
If that's the case, then my other question would be: do they have a recording capability?
That's the
Which
that's
goes
that's
to
the
like
that's why
memory.
yeah that's like another thing I want to think about it. So for the Xbox One, you can record. I don't know how long you can record now, but when it came out, you can record up to 15 minutes. No, like 10 minutes. I think 10, 15 minutes. And then for the PS4, usually you can record up to like 15. Now, recently, you're able to record up like an hour on PS4. Now we're able to record on like an hour on PS4. But how if like in terms of like just like game capture cards or recording software built into the system itself, do you think that we're going to actually be able to use this type of stuff? I'm up in the air about that. I don't know, because like most likely the next version of Elgato will probably be like equipped with this and probably work with the new Nintendo system, but Nintendo's still fuzzy about the whole thing of recording, let people record their games and put
If they are, I think they'd probably create their own channel
yeah,
because
their own stream service, like
yeah.
to cut the middleman out. Don't have to pay Twitch, don't have to pay Hitbox, don't have to pay anyone else. Just stream once.
Well, what I remember from like anything I did while I was on my Wii, everything was connected back to Nintendo. So there wasn't anything like if I wanted to go on YouTube, I was just watching YouTube videos or watching Netflix videos, versus it being that oh yeah I could go post something from my Wii. Like it didn't work that way.
Yeah, so that's the one thing. I don't know. It's like they're promoting that. Yeah, you can do tournaments and stuff, but it's like in terms of just like the heavy competitive gamer, how are you going to satisfy them? Because the Wii U and the Wii has always been like dubbed by the hardcore gamers, quote unquote, hardcore gamers, as a casual game system. Like they say like oh like some I remember hearing some people talk about the Wii U and the Wii like oh only people that play it is like little suburban white kids and soccer moms and stuff, and I was like I'm a black kid from the hood and I got a Wii. What you trying to say? But in terms of just like that, I'm thinking they're trying to win that crowd back. They're trying to slide them back this way. Like, come back.
I,
What's
I think they're trying to regain their like their older demographic because
Yeah,
The
because
way I thought about Nintendo was that you had a Nintendo when you were a kid, and then that introduced you to playing like the Xbox or the PlayStation or something like that. So they're
like
probably just trying to like either gain or regain their footing where they have like 20-year-olds playing the Nintendo.
yeah, because the only reason why I can see a 20-year-old is playing Nintendo is if he's playing Mario Kart and Smash Bros. And that's like the one game I've seen. Like most people, like even touch their Nintendo, whatever, is usually just to play Mario Kart or Monster Hunter at most. And in terms of just other games, I don't think so. Uh, Next thing is, well, we already answered this question. Will you think this system pull more people than the Wii U? I'll say yes.
Yeah.
Because it's a not only that it's a freaking handheld as well, so it has the switch. It can switch from being a console to a handheld, and having that sort of capability will bring a lot of people in. Because I went on to Twitter, on the channel's Twitter, and I've seen people left and right talking about how great it is, how much they love it, and I went on my personal Facebook, and people are already talking about they want to pre-order, they want to cop, so it's already getting good buzz now. I just I personally, I'm looking forward to this. I want to see how it is. Hopefully, if the channel gets big enough, we might be able to afford a actual like copy of this system and give you guys like a test run and see how it works before it comes out. But we're not that level yet. But
Magical unveiling.
yeah, it's a magical unveiling. If we, I don't know, got to pull some back door. I'm just kidding. We don't know nobody. Uh, Second and last question: will this game be more competitive in terms of just games like Mario Kart? Well, so will this game system have more competitive games like Mario Kart? Because I already see people playing 2K on it, which has me laughing because it makes no sense how they're playing 2K on those miniature freaking Game Boy Micro controllers.
Well, I think that if it is that they're going to be able to have um, co-op games, where they're going to be able to have co-op games and you're only playing with technically half a controller, there are some things you may not be able to do like you did before.
Yeah, they're gonna
So,
like they might have to like change like this color, like the thing of the buttons and stuff. Because I don't believe they're playing 2K. I understand there's an actual controller they showed that I think you most likely can purchase from like GameStop or other or the Wii store itself. You can purchase and play it, but in my opinion, personally, I think it's kind of fuzzy.
I hope that they don't have to have like 20 different add-ons just to play one game.
Yeah, because we saw it was able to play in the car, and there's like it had this like little dock tied to a like attached to a seat so it can stand out. So it's something good for your kids, but it's at the same time it's like,
Am I paying for it separately or does it come with it?
and if that's the case, this that means they'll have to start selling car batteries and all this other stuff just to play a game system. Because I remember, like,
Well, for them, that's not a problem. It's for the consumer. Like, are you willing to buy 20 different add-ons to play a handheld?
and also them little controllers need like a strap or something because I can see like going to a friend's house and I bring a game over and I bring mine's over and he's like, wait, I gotta search my room for 30 minutes because I can't find my second right hand controller. Like,
Just to find it like 6 days later in the couch cushion?
yeah, exactly. Like it, they need to make this more user friendly in terms of that. But do I think there will be more competitive games in terms of this? Yeah, I think they're gonna pull in because judging by the list that they have, because I found the list on Twitter later on of the list of games they have a bunch of like developers. They have Square Enix, they have Activision. I've seen like a lot of big name publishers. I'll post the list in the video, but there's a lot of publishers to the point it's just insane how much people were in this. You know, that's the one thing about Nintendo. They don't like third party publishers that much because the Wii U was everything Wii. Like everything came from Nintendo, and there were like a few games here and there came from like smaller party developers. That makes another question. This is kind of like a bonus question before the last question. Will we get like indie games like we do on like PS4 and like Xbox One? Because Xbox One, when it came out, it was like the pretty much getting indie developers to send their games to Microsoft and Microsoft sell it through their system, and then PS4 picked up the slack and started grabbing games like Outlast and grabbing games like Inside, like other horror games from like developers and stuff, so they can put it on their systems. So, do you think we would copy this or find a different way of doing this? Because imagine playing Five Nights at Freddy on this system. Yeah, your face says it all.
Um, if they want to keep the older demographic, then they're going to have to, because a lot of people are looking for something different than what you find every day in your toy store.
There's so much Call of Duties we can play. It's too many Call of Duties. It's too many first person shooters. It's too many of those. We need to diverse the portfolio of more games. So I think that's what other companies are realizing in terms of just learning from indie developers, because indie developers are usually trying to be different. The question I like to ask also is, will No Man's Sky be hitting this system? Why you gave me that face?
Anyway, um, yeah, if they're really looking to hold like a place in, especially with like new and upcoming gamers who are always looking to try something like very different from what it is that they see every day, they're gonna have to reach out for the, because indie games are games based off of the consumer. Like, it's not something that was just like, oh yeah, well, I think this will be a good game, I'm gonna make this. It's more like the consumer thinks that this is a good game, so we're gonna create it that way.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. Consumer friendly is something because they just, I think Nintendo makes stuff that people really like. Nintendo fans didn't even really ask for that much. Like, I remember I was watching the Game Illuminati. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. They're really good. They're really good. Like, in terms of like just like podcasts and everything, I enjoy their content. But one YouTuber by the name of Gaming Ethos, he stated that he will love to see something on the lines of Metro Prime, like Metroid Prime. And I was thinking, yes, like Metroid needs to make a comeback, because we haven't seen Metroid in like almost a decade, like more than a decade actually, and that will be perfect. Metroid Prime, first person shooter, 60 frames per second, 1080p, possibly even higher if they can get their system past 1080p, and on the go.
Do they have games like first person shooters on Nintendo?
They do. They have like Call of Duty, and a few other games here and there. But like,
They have Call of Duty on Nintendo.
you didn't know that? They literally.
I've never seen Call of Duty in Nintendo.
Sorry if we're digressing, because she didn't know this, but on the Wii, you can literally buy a like game a hoister for the like the nunchuck and the Wii remote, and you hold it like a assault rifle, and you it's so bad. And I was like one of those kids who was like, I'm not buying it for like Wii, because that's just on top of like the weird motion controls and everything. Like, it just what was it? Here's another question I'd like to ask. I don't think they're gonna really do this. I'm not sure, because Microsoft just bought the Oculus, and then you got PlayStation VR just coming out. I don't think we will ever do VR. I think it don't want VR.
I think Wii was a stepping point into VR.
I keep calling it the Wii, because it kind of looks like a Wii from the picture.
No, I'm talking about like the actual Wii, because remember it had a monitor and it scanned the movements that you were doing, sort of. It's not Xbox One. We're not like keeping it on forever, but
Shade.
no, but seriously, because when you think about it, it was about playing as if you were technically in the game, even if you were looking at it sort of third person. So if they continue on with that, then
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. They might have.
Imagine, yeah, I think that like in terms of VR, I think the Switch is like, I don't think Nintendo even gives a shit.
I think the Switch would be too big to be playing VR with, because VR in and of itself is already really huge, and that screen is already like the size of the top hat of somebody's head. So.
And then the thing about it is like the screen also is like very bad. Like, I think VR is like it's not polished enough, and that's the one thing people are afraid of VR in terms of just like, is it gonna be like the motion control where it was just a gimmick, or is it really gonna incorporate you into the video games? And we all know how motion controls turned out. First it was fun, then they got boring, then it became clunky. Then studios just start pushing out random games like Just Dance.
I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the only games I've ever had on Wii.
Fuck Just Dance. Anyway, our final and last question, and hopefully our final, if we don't get any more questions in our head. How much space will this thing hold? So, Christina, well, Celine, we already seen like 20 gig games such as 2K and freaking like Skyrim on the system. Like, how much memory would this have? Like a terabyte? I think a terabyte would be a great investment.
With the way technology is moving now, you have like smaller laptops with more storage. So if you could get that into a handheld console where you can have a terabyte of data and it's not like a extra like briefcase on the back of the device, then it might work like extremely well. Especially for something where it says that you could go anywhere with it. So if you're bored and you're like, "Oh, well, I've been playing this game forever. Let me download like this little mini game I see on the in the store or something like that." If it's able to hold it and have enough space where you're like, "Oh, you don't have to delete every other game you own just to download this one game." Then yeah, well, I have high hopes for that one.
I think, like, in terms of just memory, like the tablet, like the screen, tablet screen, is going to have memory by itself. But in terms of everything else, I think it's going to have like the dock is probably going to have like a memory storage in it. Probably like, let's say the dock can be like 500 gigs, or it could possibly be like at most like 600, 700 gigs. It depends. If it goes anything higher than 500 gigs, guys, it's going to be like at least $400. So it's a possibility because they still haven't given it. I don't know if they gave it a price range. I didn't check that yet, but they said it's coming out in March, so it's possible there's gonna be a price range, which is kind of interesting because they could have easily just pushed this system back until fall season like they always do, and just like sell the game as a holiday present. But like, no, they want to sell it in March, which I'm kind of looking forward to. So, any other questions, Christina? Do you have?
How are you connecting to your television? Is it Bluetooth or
No,
Wi-Fi? Because I
not.
don't see any wires or cords.
Well, from the picture you don't see no wires, but obviously the dock. They said it's showing in pictures that the dock pretty much is like a system connected to your computer, to that computer, well, to your TV screen, and you just put the dock in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not Bluetooth. In terms, that would be weird if it was Bluetooth. That would be a dumb idea if it's Bluetooth. That's all the questions we have. But other than that, I'm Megasonic, guys. I see you later.
This is Celine. Peace out, y'all.